Made in Africa by Africans. These are the latest trends to show the world. Designers cut from a different cloth, whose clothes and accessories have their own stories to tell.
I love color, I love texture, and I love making happy clothes. I want my clothes to speak of joy.
From haute couture to sustainable designs, each reflects the pride for country, continent, and culture.
I think now, especially the young crowd here, are really buying into what the new African narrative is.
These are the fashionistas redefining what it means to be an African creative. This is Inside Africa. Made in Africa by Africans. These are the latest trends to show the world. Designers cut from a different cloth, whose clothes and accessories have their own stories to tell.
I love color, I love texture, and I love making happy clothes. I want my clothes to speak of joy.
From haute couture to sustainable designs, each reflects the pride for country, continent, and culture.
I think now, especially the young crowd here, are really buying into what the new African narrative is.
These are the fashionistas redefining what it means to be an African creative. This is Inside Africa. They say home is where the heart is. And for many upstart business owners, it's often where the work is as well.
Welcome to the house of Lani Rani. Let's go. Right, living room / working room, sewing machine where the magic happens. Messy magic, but magic all the less. My kids would hate me if I didn't mention their amazing artwork. Often the source of my inspiration. Love the colors and the texture.
Shamaira Mudley is a force of nature.
What's cooking? Always something in this house. Looking good. Lunch is on its way.
More specifically, the charismatic and engaging personality is the mind and hands behind sustainable fashion design brand Lani Rani.
What is this Lani Rani? Well, Lani in South Africa, it's a colloquial term in Afrikaans, and it means boss. And then Rani in Sanskrit means queen. So it's a boss, queen. It's a girl who's bold and brave and, you know, someone who carves out their own destiny, and she goes for it all in.
Raised in Durban, South Africa, but now based in Cape Town, Shamaira is largely self-taught. Designing was a hobby she had while building a corporate career.
I'm an accountant and a mom who was sitting on a couch one day and came up with a brilliant idea and thought, let me just give this a go.
2 years ago, she created a skirt out of a sackcloth and a bodice from an old breastfeeding bra. She wore it to a fashion show where it caught the eye of a prominent British fashion critic.
So it's been a series of OMG moments all the time, from like meeting Susie Menkes and just from being a spectator in the audience to ultimately getting to participate in the competition and being part of a runway show.
Fast forward to October 2021, the Sandton district of Johannesburg, where Shamaira's debut runway experience is moments away.
So there's an electric atmosphere, there's a buzz, there's people running around, there's clothes flying everywhere, there's makeup being brushed all around. It's a bit of a whirlwind, but I'm so super centered.
She was there as a finalist from African Fashion International's Fast Tracker program, a year-long competition for emerging talent. The brief for this element was to create 7 looks to fit the theme of sustainability.
We're about to step on the runway. We are at the AFI Grand Finale. There's a sense of relief, a sense of purpose, and a sense of passion that's about to come into play. I am ecstatic.
Not one to sit idle, while she awaited the results of the competition, Shamira kept on dreaming and designing.
So where do I see myself? How about Paris, Milan, Lagos, I think Moscow, Russia? Who will have me? I have a collection waiting upstairs. What I showed for AFI was just really at the tip of the iceberg. I would love to share this with the rest of the world. There's a lot to see, hurry up. Right now I'm busy updating my website, so soon you'll be able to buy directly from me. This is how it all kind of started, and this is what Susie kind of spotted. And this is t-shirt yarn that I have woven into some hessian, and we've hand stitched this on to the shoes. Color, texture, everything I love in any garment. This is a Persian rug, a scrappy little piece that was left over, and it kind of works perfectly as the clutch bag. Then I've tried my hand at men's shoes. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get my husband in a pair of these. But a go can try. So this is my prototype of a clutch bag. Again, using the remnant stock t-shirt yarn, you're all hand woven. And if you look inside here, that's actually cabling. So a cord that I've upcycled to use as a pretty strong base as a handle. So there you have it. Made in Africa, made in the house of Lani Rani.
In early January 2022, the news became public. Shamira Mudley was named the AFI Fast Track Young Designer 2021.
Do you know, it hasn't really sunk in as yet. I haven't had a moment to actually come to terms with winning. All a little bit overwhelming and such an incredible experience, which I'm so grateful for. Winning was literally the icing on the cake. I think the cash will help me act with pace, and you know, the award has opened so many doors already. For me, I would love to employ as many people as I can. 50,000 would allow me to start that process. Today I sit here and I kind of know what I want. I know what my future should look like in terms of, you know, my family and where I want to see fashion going. But for the first time ever, fashion might represent something that has the potential to impact all of our future. You know, it's to leave a lasting positive legacy. And that legacy will come from the only way that I think is possible, and it's through sustainable fashion. And all of us to start being innovative and kind of making a change for the better.
So welcome to my space. This is the Siciano studio in Lekki, Lagos, and yeah, the clothes are here. As a creative, I've never done anything from the beginning because I was passionate about it.
Looking at Paolo Ciccone, it's hard to believe that's true. The Nigerian-Italian designer, artist and dancer exudes creativity. But getting into fashion was all about the business, at least at first.
When I started fashion, it wasn't, this is something I'm passionate about. It was, this is something that I need to transition into to be able to sustain myself. So it was about selling clothes. It wasn't about creating art yet. If you put time into something long enough, you tend to fall in love with it. I've always loved art. I was born into a family of artists. When I started painting, I wanted something that was unique to me. Expression is based off of where you are and where you're coming from. And I like that when I look at the different aspects that I have and I've been blessed with, I see me. Growing up, I was very sure I was going to be on TV, like on the screen.
But after a few disappointments, that's when he discovered the art form that would inspire him to bring something different to the Nigerian fashion scene.
I have a dance background, contemporary major. I was doing costume design in dance. And it was because we didn't have the right costumes. So my love for fashion design was created from dance. And that's why if you see the garments, it's really a reflection of movements. You know the way the ocean moves around? That's the whole idea of the brand.
Homegrown platforms have taken Paolo's brand beyond the country's borders.
I was, first of all, seen on Lagos Fashion Week in 2013. I went on to show every single year afterwards. I got on Vogue, I went for International Fashion Showcase in London, I went to South Africa for a show, and each time I was out of the space, which is Lagos, Nigeria, I felt like it was so empowering.
Supermodel Naomi Campbell agrees that leaving the nest can be a good thing, especially for young designers.
Each time you do something is an experience that carries with you, that makes you stronger, that makes you wiser, that makes you know something more about fabrics or how things are done. You know, you travel, if you can go to different countries and learn about a different culture that inspires you.
While Naomi and Paolo advocate for inclusivity across the industry, Paolo notes African designers still need to exercise a bit of caution.
We need to be sure as to who we are, because the international space is always trying to create a narrative for us, whereby we should be sending a narrative. I am a generation that is a mix. So we travel, we see things, well, online, you can be inspired by anything. To now want to box that in, to say it should be indigenous, we kind of defeat the purpose of looking inward.
In the future, Paolo plans to build on his past in order to create a legacy of his own.
The one person that always inspires me would have to be Vivian, my mom. I grew up with an extremely fashionable black woman living in the middle of Rome. She had carved out something that was personal to her. And that's how I built Siciano. It's really been about presenting something that no one else was doing. The future for Paolo would be very simple. It would be about finding and staying in the space of happiness. Everything I do with love, with love, with love.
Their production value has continued to increase.
We started by producing over 50 bags per month to now over 300 bags per month. We have over 8 shops that retail our bags in both Europe and America, and here in Uganda we have 5 shops.
She also discovered a new passion, which led to a new product as well.
You have your indoor plant, place it in there so it looks beautiful. My planters are made from recycled plastic, the plastic that we use for making the backpacks and different accessories.
She also relies heavily on one of her favorite hobbies for additional inspiration.
I love to go to the gym. I go 3 times in a week, or work out here at home. And to me, fitness has helped me boost my confidence and has given me strength. And it has also helped me to really be consistent in life.
But when it comes to staying motivated, the energetic entrepreneur doesn't need to look very far.
What keeps me going is knowing that the livelihood of my team entirely depends on the success of the business. So that really gives me energy that the business is providing employment for the marginalized women and the youth, and also myself.
At La Fondation Donwahi, an art gallery, restaurant and lounge in Abidjan, DJ Leke provides some atmospheric background music for the early evening dinner crowd. Better known for his day job as the founder and art director of fashion label Kente Gentlemen, DJing is something Aristide Loa does mostly for fun. But his passion for creating and being creative is fast becoming an attractive path to follow for youth across the continent.
I think now, especially the young crowd here on the continent, are really buying into what the new African narrative is, because they're actually building the new African narrative, and they're able to buy into, you know, the music that we're making, the fashion that we're making, the arts that we're making.
It was 2016, after 10 years abroad and obtaining a degree in actuarial science in the US, that the self-proclaimed math nerd was feeling homesick and decided to return to the Ivory Coast and become a maker himself.
When I came back home, I discovered there's like a multitude of textiles that I could be working with, like the Kente fabric, for example, the Paolo fabric, the Sinful fabric, things that were part of the heritage of the craftsmanship of back home, instead of the wax print being made in the Netherlands, for example. So I was going down to the market looking for Paolo fabrics, and this lady told me, like, hey, there's this village where you can find the best fabrics out there. And I was like, okay, let's do it.
Traveling by bus, bush taxi and motorcycle, he made it to a small village that, according to the locals, makes the best woven fabrics.
And when I get there, I see lines of people just making it, the woodwork going back and forth, the threads being like thin, the color being mixed together. It was just such a beautiful first day experience.
Kente Gentlemen released its first collection in April 2017 and has since gone global.
I want every single piece of clothing to tell a story, and I think that connected with a lot of people, especially a lot of people that have a different narrative of work going back and forth, the threads being like thin, the color being mixed together. It was just such a beautiful first day experience.
Kente Gentlemen released its first collection in April 2017 and has since gone global.
I want every single piece of clothing to tell a story, and I think that connected with a lot of people, especially a lot of people that have a different narrative of what the African continent looks like. So with our pieces, that was quite aesthetically pleasing to the locals here, but also to people in Paris, in London, New York.
In 2021, Aristide was accepted into a mentorship program at the prominent Paris fashion school, the Institut Français de la Mode.
They selected about 10 brands, and for us it's been an honor, because, you know, we're quite young, we're only 4 years old. So it was very interesting, you know, getting together with so many creatives from the continent, you know, sharing ideas, getting to know what it's like to build a fashion brand, especially on a global scale.
And in 2022, things continue to look up for Kente Gentlemen. Aristide says they will make their first appearance at Paris Fashion Week, thanks to the support of the ethical fashion initiative's Designer Accelerator, which the label recently joined.
Yeah, I think it's a real asset for us, especially under the sponsorship of the EFI Accelerator program. So I think for us to be present there, it's going to be a vital step, you know, into building a global brand.
Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour.
But for now, there is still plenty of work to put in on the home front, where today Aristide has a meeting to review a current in-store lineup and show off what's new.
So right now we're at Abbey Concept, a luxury fashion store here in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. It's very important for us to have a space like this to accommodate different designers from the continent and also different designers from here, Côte d'Ivoire.
The designer believes that presenting his clothing line in a tangible fashion like this is equally important to other platforms.
So we're trying to, you know, be present in different stores so people can get a feel of what the brand is about, touch the product, and then buy into the vision.
We love the idea of tradition being shaped into new modern forms and in everyday lives outfits. When I selected Aristide for the place, I believe that I wanted men to discover another kind of suits, you know, kind of maybe more relaxed than the usual Western suits.
I think right now Africa is hot, Africa is trendy, Africa is sexy, so it's very important for us to showcase what Africa is really about, using the local craftsmanship, using the local talent.
For the young fashion entrepreneur, all the encouragement he needs to keep moving forward is found right here in the Ivory Coast. It's where his family home is, the same home that doubles as his design studio, for now.
I love this space, it's quite intimate and personal for us, but given the attention that we are gathering and the demand that's growing, and eventually this is going to surpass the capacity that we have here.
It's where he can quickly grab his brother and a friend for an impromptu photo shoot. And where he walks the street of Abidjan daily, drawing inspiration from his neighborhood and the vibrant city that he calls home. Locally inspired, continentally aware.
People are really buying into what's happening here on the continent, and I think it's just a matter of time until we start growing and start writing the narrative and changing the mindset to make sure that we start consuming what's made here.
Inside Africa, in association with Zenith Bank.